All right, I'm back. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to be sharing this and that. Okay, so let's take a look at some problems on 2.3. So I'm going to do 1, 4, 7, and 10 probably. So let's look at number 1. Determine whether the following statement is true or false. If it's false, rewrite it as a true statement. The mean is the measure of central tendency most likely to be affected by an outlier. It sounds very true. A is not right. Okay, outliers do affect measurements of central tendency. The mode, no, not mode either. And then not median. So I say C. All right, let's try number 4. Okay, so number 4 says the number of credits being taken by a sample of 13 full-time college students are listed below. Find the mean, median, and mode of the data if possible. If any measure cannot be found or does not represent the center of the data, explain why. Okay, so let's see if we can do that quickly. Okay, so now you may certainly do this by hand. Okay, put your data in order from smallest to largest, and then pick the center value for the median and calculate the mean, and then see if you can pick out a mode just by, counting how many each data point has. But since we're doing a homework demo, I'm going to see if I can use StatCrunch. I'm going to show you how to use StatCrunch to do a problem like this one. Okay, so what you usually see on the right-hand side, it's a little icon after the data. So click on that, okay, and you see open in StatCrunch. So it will open and load your data in the first column. Okay, how convenient. All right. So what we want to do, okay, is we want to get some summary descriptive statistics from it. Okay, mean, median, and mode. That's what they are. So let's look at, so under stats, let's go to summary stats. All right, the summary stats that we're looking for are in columns. Okay, and so first thing we need to do is we need to tell them what column the data is in. All right, so data is in var1. All right, and then you don't need to touch anything else. We're not doing groups. And the statistics that this one offers has everything we need. Okay, so N is the sample size, mean, the variance, standard deviation, standard error, median range, minimum, maximum, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I think it has everything we need. So all you have to do now is click on compute. Okay, so this has everything we need, I think. All right, so what do we need from here? So we need the mean. Okay, so let's read the mean. The mean is here, 8.2307. So how many decimals do they need? They need one decimal place, so it'd be 8.2. So 8.2, check. All right. Does the mean represent the center of the data? Well, looking at this, okay, so how do we know? Okay, so one way to look at this, okay, and this is just based on being statistician, um, is to compare the mean and the median. Okay, if you have a well-centered symmetrical data, as you remember, the mean and the median should be about the same. right? That shouldn't be too far apart. Okay, this one, 8.2 versus 8, it's pretty close. Okay, so I would say that it does represent the center. All right, I don't think anything else applies. Does not represent because the smallest, no, it's not a data value. That's wrong. Does not because it's large, nope. Okay, so I think A is the best choice. Next, find the median. Okay, we can see the median from here also. Let's see what the median is. Okay, median is 8. All right, so let's do that. All right. And does the median represent the center of the data? It most certainly does, because the definition, the very definition of the median is the center. All right, lastly, the mode. Okay, so the mode requires us to actually do some counting because the output here does not show us a mode. All right. Nope, it doesn't. So let's just go look at the data and see if we can pick it out. Okay, we see some 11s. We see a bunch of 7s. So I would say 7 is the mode. All right. So mode is the mode is 7. All right. So let's check that. That's not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be the 7. That should be 7. The modes is or are. Why is it not 7? Okay. I think I need to click A. That's why. All right. I don't know how I click on B, but it's supposed to be A. All right. Okay. So does the mode represent the center of the data? And this time it is a no, because not only do we see that 7 is not close to the 8. Zach, thank you. Yes, as you can see, it happens to me too. So, don't worry, because you see your instructor makes all kind of mistakes on the homework demo. So, okay. And on that note, if you ever get into any kind of issues with the homework, you want me to reset it, I'll be more than happy to reset it for you. Okay. Let's say, you mess up too much or whatever, and it locks you out or whatever. Yeah, just message me for a reset. Okay, so this one, the data is the smallest value and it does not represent the center, right? Okay, because yeah, 7 is the smallest data value and it's not the center, and that's what I'm going to say. The mode the mode does not represent the center because it is the smallest data value. All right, I think that's what I'm going to say. All right, let's look at number 7. Without performing any calculations, determine which measure of central tendency best represents the graph data. Explain your reasoning. Okay, all right. So, as I said, median is always the best. Okay. Now, when is median not necessarily the best? Okay. If you have a symmetrical data distribution, okay, then the mean and the median both work. Okay. Both are the best. But anything outside of a symmetrical distribution, okay, median is always the choice. Let's see if they agree. The median is the best measure because the data is skewed. It is skewed. All right. Not the mode, never the mode. The mode is never the best. All right. All right. Okay, good. Let's look at number 10. Okay, during a quality assurance check, the actual contents of 6 containers are those. Find the mean and the median of the contents. All right. So, well, let's use StatCrunch again. Find the third value is incorrectly entered is actually 1518. Find the mean and median again. Okay, and then which measure of the central tendency was affected more by the data entry error? Okay, we'll get to all that. So the first thing is uh, calculating the mean. Okay, now if you don't see an icon where it offers you to open it in StatCrunch, you can still use StatCrunch because if you like it, okay. So how do you use StatCrunch if it's not offered with using the icon? Is you can go to get more help on the bottom. Okay, and click on that. You see StatCrunch. Okay, well click on StatCrunch. And now this way you have to enter the data yourself. Okay, so I'm going to do 1526, 1533. You hit enter, it'll move you down to the next line, 1500, 1509, 1536, and 1514. All right, so we're going to do stats, and we're going to do summary stats again, and we're going to do columns. Okay, and here we're going to select var1. A lot of times we forget to do that. Okay, and then, but you can use the default set of statistics. That's enough. So I'm going to click compute. Okay, so here's what we got. The mean is 1519.6667, and they want it to 1 decimal place. So I'm going to use 1519.7. Okay, 1519.7. No, 1519.7. Yep. So let's check that. All right. And find the median. So the median is 1520. And we check that again. All right. So part B, the third value is incorrectly measured and it's actually 1518. Okay, so let's fix that. Okay, so I'm going to let me jot down. Okay, so mean is 1519.7. Median is 1520. All right, so now I'm going to cancel this out. I'm going to change the third data point, 1500, into 1518. One, 518. All right, so everything else stays the same. Okay, now I'm going to run my summary stats again. So click on stats, summary stats, columns. I'm going to click var1, and standard set of stats is fine. So compute. So this time, what do we have? We have a mean of 1522.7. All right. And the median this time is also 1522. All right. So after correcting the error, the mean, you notice 1519 and increased to 1522.7. So it went up by 3. So it increased by 3. And the median went from 1520 to 1522. It increased by 2. So which is affected more? The mean was affected a little bit more. All right. Is that it? Yep, that's it. All right. So that's 2.3. And let's go take a look at 2.4. All right. So 2.4, I believe we're doing the first half. So I'll do 1, 3, and 5. Because I think 6 is where we start next time. So number 1, describe the difference between calculation of population standard deviation and that of sample standard deviation. And that would be population standard deviation, sum of squared is divided by n. So this one looks okay. Okay, and let's look at B. Population standard deviation divided by n minus 1, that's wrong. C, population standard deviation, sum of square deviations divided by the number of entries n minus 1, that's also wrong. When calculating population standard deviation, the sum of square deviations divided by n, then the square roots of the result is taken. Okay, that is good. Okay, so A, it did not do the square roots. Okay, so then square root is taken. Sample standard deviation divided by n minus 1, then the square root is taken, so it's D. Okay, so it's not A. A did not include the square roots, which is required. So let's do D. Okay. Next. Okay, so let's do 1, 3, and 5. So let's do 3. So the depths at which 10 artifacts are found are listed. Complete the parts A and B below. All right, so let's take a look. So find the range of the data set. Okay, so now remember, well, granted, you can easily just go pick the largest number, divide minus the smallest number. Okay, if you want to do that, feel free to do it by hand. It should be pretty easy. But let's say, let me show you how to do it in StatCrunch. Okay, so what good is StatCrunch in calculating the range? Actually, I do think it has it. Okay, let me see if it does. So let's stats, summary stats. We're doing columns. Okay, var1. Okay, now this is a range in that. Yes, range is. All right, so if I do compute, it will give me the range. Range is 23.9. All right, so range 23.9. So let's do that. Change 45.4 to 63.2 and find the range of the new data set. All right, so we're going to do what we did. We're going to do that again. We're going to X that out. Okay. And, ooh, that's not it. That's a wrong problem. So if I can get the new problem on. Here's the new problem. All right, so I'm going to X that out. And what am I doing here? I'm going to change 45.4 to 63.2. So I'm going to change this one to 63.2. All right, and we're going to calculate the range again. So stats, summary stats, columns, var1, click on var1, and then click on compute. So the range now changes to 41.7. All right. Okay, good. Let's do number 5. So number 5 says you are applying for a job at 2 companies. Company A offers starting salaries with mean 34,000 and standard deviation 2,000. Company B offers starting salaries with mean 34,000 and standard deviation 5,000. From which company are you more likely to get an offer of 38,000 or more? Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, so they both have the same center, all right? But one's has a spread of 2,000, one has a spread of 5,000. All right, so as you can imagine, smaller spread and a larger spread. Okay, what are you more likely to get now? Also, since we haven't really touched this part yet, okay, but 34,000, so 38,000, we are 4,000 away. Okay, so this is 34. Okay, 38 is out here somewhere. Okay, and $2,000 standard deviation. So at 38,000, that's $4,000, which is two standard deviation units. All right, here, okay, 34,000, 5,000 is one standard deviation. So 39 is here. This is one standard deviation. Okay, and at 38, it's less than one standard deviation. So what does that mean? It means that you're more likely this is closer to the center than that. Okay, 38 is far away from the center because it's two standard deviations away versus this is less than one standard deviation. Okay, even though the amount is it's different. Okay, but the fewer standard deviations, the closer you are to the center. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So, which one are you more likely to get an offer? Well, I would say company B because data values within one standard deviation from the mean are not considered unusual. Yeah, in a way, that is true. Okay. I mean, the spread, okay, one standard deviation versus two standard deviations, okay, two standard deviations is a lot less likely. All right, that's it. That's the only question. All right. All right. Okay. So any questions on any of the homework problems? Okay. Um, all right now, before we close, um, so in when you're working the homework, all right, um, remember you have resources at your disposal. Okay, so I already show you get more help. Okay, under get more help. Okay, StatCrunch, as you can see, it simplifies the calculations. Um, ask my instructor if you want me to take a look at something that you're doing. I'll be more than happy to. Okay, I usually get back to you within 24 hours. All right. Now, the textbook is available to you. Okay, and also if you click on help me solve this, what it will do is it will actually walk you through step by step. Okay, so it will break down every question, every problem into multiple steps. In a way, it's kind of creating more work, but it will actually make sure that you understand each step that's required to answer the question or to solve the problem. So, you may find that helpful. All right. So, that's it for tonight. Any more comments or questions before we hang up? Everyone okay with what we're doing so far? Okay. All right. So in that case, have a good evening, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Have a good night.